Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Buddy Study Group for Worksite Solutions. And I thought it was time for a little bit of Buddy System State of the Union. We have been releasing a heck of a lot of stuff in the Buddy System, and nearly all of it is geared towards group long-term care. We're getting to the point where we're releasing something every week, and I want to make sure everybody is caught up on what's new lately. Even if you're receiving some of the communications from us, you log in regularly, there may be some things that you still could be missing. So I wanted to kind of show them all off to you, kind of one by one. And I would definitely take this opportunity to give us any feedback you have. A number of these things are still under construction. We're kind of getting them out, providing the useful information first and foremost, and continuing to iterate as we go. But you'll notice that a lot of things have changed in the buddy system a bit, and we have more planned beyond that. So, in addition to kind of reviewing some of the stuff that we've recently put in place, I'm going to give you kind of a roadmap of what to expect for the near future, which is also really exciting. So, without further ado, I think I'm going to jump right into it. So let me share my screen here. All right. So in the buddy system, couple of things I'm going to go over for you. There's going to be updates to Product Buddy that I'll go over for you. You can see we've got a lot of green for new. Some things newer than others. The marketing section has gotten quite an overhaul lately, so I want to show you some of the new pieces that we have there. We also have a new section for products, and even though it doesn't have a green new on it, the group solutions page is continuing to get a bit of a facelift, and that looks completely different. So that's kind of the agenda of what I'll take you through, and then I'll show you some of the things that we have planned. So why don't we start with kind of the brand new things that didn't exist before? So I want to start with the products page because we have a number of changes here. Previously, we had the product guides under here in the group solution space. That is now a guide that's kind of designed to help you understand the sales process of group long-term care and all the ways we can help with it and the steps you need to take along the way. But this is our new area for carrier information. So each of these tabs will take you to a different carrier and bring you to a new page. A lot of this is some of the same information that's overhauled. Some of this has, a bit more convenience for you. So I'm going to use Transamerica because I like our map for this product, and we haven't featured Transamerica in a while. So I'm going to take you through this page. First, what we have, of course, is our product sweet spots right front and center for you. So understanding what are the kind of the key differentiators of the product or what are the things we like about the product. Um, Beyond that, we have contracting instructions for each of the carriers should you need to pursue contracting for them. And then we've got product information. Okay, so kind of designed to read a little bit like a carrier brochure, nice and neat for you, including carrier contacts and everything you'll kind of need to know at a high level about the plan. Now, each of these product pages also has a calculator that is tied just to that carrier's plan designs. So for Transamerica, we're working on adding the Trans Elite plan for New York, Vermont, Virginia, but we do have the high cash value and high face amount plan designs for Transamerica. You'll see there are no other plan designs in here but Transamerica, so you can go in and really, really get familiar with the pricing front and center. And then our maps got a little bit of an overhaul as well. So you can go through each state where the product may function a little bit differently. Orange is kind of going to be your full availability. Anything you could really look out for is going to be available for the product. But the blue states tend to have some differences. So you can, when you have a state in mind, go to each specific state and get an idea of how the product works. And you can see we have like the trans elite states labeled. If we have one rider or the other as far as LTC and chronic condition for Transamerica. We'll make that, apparent to you. We'll talk about EOB, restoration, anything special you need to know about the product with this map, and it's fully interactable. So feel free to come in there and check that out. We've got proposals and contracts, the simplified issue underwriting questions, and extra brochures and forms. We've also aggregated all of the study group trainings we've done with the carrier. If it's a direct carrier call, it'll be in here, but also we've done some study groups where we've compared carriers as well, and those will be in there for your viewing and listening pleasure. So it's very similar to the product pages we had in the group sales guide previously. One of the other things I want to point your attention to is these pages are a little bit easier to navigate now. So depending on what you're coming in here to look for, you can kind of jump right to it. If I want to just look at the simplified issue underwriting questions, all I have to do is click the underwriting questions button. It's going to pop me right down there so I can actually download those questions. And when you click on it, it'll populate that window for you so you can download the attachment. Any section is also going to have a nice little back to top too. So you can get in here and get the information quicker than you could before this way, which I really, really enjoy. So we've got that for Trustmark as well. We've got their TLC and ULE products. We've got maps available for that for both products. Anything you would need there. Same deal for Chubb. Chubb's map is pretty comical. There's not too much left out. And then we've got all the attachments there. Allstate, same deal, but we're actually working on adding their term to 100 product right now. So that'll be coming soon for you all. Just getting a handle on state availability, getting some of the documents that we need to be able to share with you all put in here. So be on the lookout for that soon. So kind of the spiritual successor to the group sales guide page. But now let's see what that page has become. This has kind of become your compendium of understanding the group sales process. So this is something that is under construction. We are actively iterating on this page right now, but we do have some really good information in here for you. So really what this does is kind of take a step-by-step approach to give you an idea of what each step of a group sale looks like, what we have available to help you through those steps, and even for some of the sales tools that we have for pre-sale, we have really in-depth tutorials and guides for how to use those tools. So step one is obvious. We got to go get a group, right? So we've got some thoughts on how you can get introduced to more groups. You can hit these toggles and just kind of take the bullet points in. We'll add more here as we go as well. What determines if a group is a good candidate for long-term care? What are our kind of initial conversation starters? And then a study group recording that we did all around this topic. So from there, we move into step two. That's pre-sale. That's where a lot of our tools are going to come into play. We've got some copy here just to help you understand when you're really in that step of the process. But we have guides for all of our tools now that you can quick nav to. And I've written some pointers for many of these tools, and we've got nice little step-by-step guides here. All you have to do is click this button here, and it will take you through each step of using the tool. And we've got some copy here to explain each of the steps for you. So you can walk through that for every single one of the tools, including our census quote. Just got the guide up for this to help walk you through this. We're going to be adding more steps to the census quote as well, but this will give you an idea, just again, how to get your feet wet and really feel like you're starting to create good outcomes and make it work for you. So we're really happy with these, even how to submit a quote request to us. We've got a guide for that too, how to fill out those forms. The proposal process is under construction right now. There's a lot we're kind of planning there. But for step four, our sold group process, I think this will give you some really good answers that you're looking for at this point as far as what happens when I actually sell a group. How do I work with Buddy INS on my groups? How do commission splits work? Things of that nature. So this will actually outline the different commission split options that we offer, what the split would actually be, and what value add services you get from Buddy INS at each kind of commission split level. So this is something that's asked about a lot. So feel free to come in here and get the info on that. And enrollment process, this should actually be in step four. Again, I said under construction, but we have a sold group form that will help you to help us get the information we need to move a case from I've sold the group, they said yes, to the group application and actual implementation of the enrollment. So there's a good amount of information to fill out here that you will generally have as you sell the group and they say yes, I'm ready to move forward, but it'll also give you some of the information you may still need to chase down the carrier will need to get to the point where we're signing the group app, setting the enrollment dates and getting everything in order. So this is an important piece, especially for our operations team. So I definitely want to give some light to this. Again, if you don't know all of the questions, all the answers to all the questions, we do have Sandy from our operations team standing by, or whoever you're working with on the Buddy INS team with your case. We can certainly help you get this filled out as well. But it's nice to be able to just submit this information, signal this to our team so we can keep that process rolling. I think a lot of the time during this piece of the process, it can tend to be a little tough to get things over the 1 yard line because there's a lot of information to track down. So we're continuing to work on a number of ways where we can make this process easier and work well for you. Let's see. Do we have anything in the chat? I've forgotten to check the chat because I'm just.
Couple of people just were giving a shout out to the census quote. Really
Mm,
like that one. If you want to share how you can copy a list of date of birth, someone had asked if that was a
yeah,
possibility.
yeah. Happy to do so. And our guide speaks to some of those things. I'm going to show you a few more tips and tricks that we can do as well with the census quote. Um, So yeah, the census quote has a tiny little quirk, and as long as you know the secret to that quirk, let me just pull up a sample census that I can copy from. Let's see. Give me one moment here while I pull that up.
Yeah, and typically we're running the census quote most often for employer funded um, kind of analysis.
Correct.
You can do it for the whole group as well. If you have a group that's more than 100, right now we have it limited, so you have to kind of do it multiple times. But just let us know your feedback on how you're using it and what you're finding to be beneficial. Because it isn't necessarily limited to employer funding either.
Yep. So I am not going to release anybody's PII here, but I am dealing with a couple of censuses, and I am just going to take, uh, just imagine me, Max, just copying the column of DOBs, okay, from my census. And there's a number of things you can actually do before you put it into census quote, like if you have the ability to sort a column based on job title or sort a column based on income, however you may plan to do a carve out if you're working on a carve out, best to get those folks that you're going to have in the carve out group to the top, and I'll give you an idea why. But when we go back over to the census
Hey
quote,
Max, I saw that you unmuted. Do you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, just a clarifying question. When you say copy the column, are you talking about the full column or just the cells in the column?
yeah, just the cells
The
in
cells.
yeah, just the dates of birth, just
Okay.
the dates of birth in that column. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click into cell one. I'm gonna hit escape. This is a very important piece that um, trips folks up, and then Control V to paste, and it's just gonna paste all of those DOBs in there for you, and it's going to automatically calculate the age for each one of them. So I just took 28 from this census, and it'll put it all right in there for you as a copy
Yeah.
and paste function.
One other tip, Jason, let me add to, and this is a new feature. If you've used this in the past, this might be new. Click on the date picker under effective date, the actual calendar. Choose something that's 3 months from now, because the date of birth is going to be calculated as of the effective date,
Yep.
and that's going to actually do their birthday as of 12/1 in this case.
Right. So
So
we
it's
have an
better to underpromise,
1129 here.
overdeliver.
This
Yeah.
person was 56 on original calculation, but since we put it out 3 months, this person's actually going to be 57 with a 12-month effective date. So, good point. Yes.
And
Uh,
I'm going to add one more thing, Jason, just because I
yeah,
think this is a really important sales tip. As we know, people always want to delay the decision, and that includes HR on a voluntary benefit. But if they know that this is priced based on the date of birth and that is level, right, based on their issue age forever, it creates a sense of urgency. We need to do this because there's a lot of people that are going to get a higher rate if we don't get this in place sooner. So it really does help kind of nudge them along if they're helping their employees, right, get it at a less expensive price. So I would use that as your target, date for them and say, hey, let's do this by this date because then we know these people are not going to have to get priced at an older age later.
right. So once we've got our DOBs in here, maybe we have an idea of who we want in this carve out group if we've, say, sorted the column based on job title. And I said, I want to do a carve out of 10 employees who have an executive job title here. And I just want to check these boxes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got these 10 lives in here for our carve out. And I want to compare. Let's say I, I'll compare Allstate whole life to Allstate term life. And I'll start by comparing 25,000. I will compare 50,000 and I'll compare 75,000. It's going to give us our employer funded costs on a monthly basis to do this plan for all employees, but the column below it is going to give us the total monthly premium to do this for our carve out group of 10. Okay, so this will give us a good idea each benefit level, how much for everybody, how much for this 10-person carve out, and then for the carve out, what is the average monthly premium per employee at each benefit level? So really, really helpful data here. And another trick I have for you, because at this moment we're working through print functionality, we're working through a number of things on the presentation side, what you can actually do is I like to go to the bottom right cell, the very last premium we have in here. And what I will generally do is I will select all of this and I'll hit Control C to copy. And I can just open up, if you'll give me one moment, please. I open up Microsoft Excel, blank workbook, and you can, let's see, yeah, you can paste it right into an Excel spreadsheet. Now, some of you are way more adept at Excel than I. I like to just kind of resize some of these just a little bit so everything fits correctly. But now you've got a bit more of a presentation style for the tool. Um, in the Excel spreadsheet, you can kind of add whatever you'd like from a copy perspective in here to make it nice and handsome as far as the presentations, but you can take the numbers with you, save it, and send it to somebody that you're working with on this.
Yeah,
And
I use a template and I just copy in the rates and I use my template. If you have a preferred formatting you like to present to brokers or to clients, that's perfectly great to just copy the numbers and then that's you have all the rates like Jason showed you.
right. So there's more to come on this tool. There's a number of different things that we're working on. One of the other things that we're um, working on or playing around with a little bit is to actually within this tool maybe have a separate button somewhere here that can actually take us to sort of a presentation view where we can really get to more of the information that you might want for a presentation. Just make it a little bit cleaner and more handsome to be able to transfer over to Excel on your own to be able to send to someone. But there's a lot in the works. Glad you guys are really liking it in its current state. There's a lot more that we're putting into this to make it work for you all.
Hey, Jason, Raymond also wanted to see, could you do the date of birth thing again? Because I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that can be tricky the first time.
Yes, I can do that. Let me reopen the census here. Should have kept it open. Let me see. So I have copied the dates of birth in Excel. You're just going to click into this first cell, cell one. You're going to hit escape and then Control plus V to paste. And that should put all of your dates of birth right in there one by one. If you've done it wrong, all of the dates of birth will actually populate in cell one, which of course can be a little bit frustrating, but just the escape key is your friend. Just click into cell one, hit escape, Control plus V, and that's all you need.
Hey, Jason,
Mhm.
if we have 200 or 300 employees and they're looking to carve out maybe the top 10, but we want to be able to see all 250 dates of birth, same process, and then put it in Excel in order to share it with the broker. I mean, it's a big list,
Yeah, it
10 or
would.
20.
Yeah, you'd have to kind of go 100 at a time right now. We're only
Okay,
able to
100.
support up to 100 at this moment, but that's something else that we're working on as well. But you could do three groups of 100 and, paste them one on top of another. I also think if they're just going to um, do a carve out, the problem is you have to aggregate the
Right,
premiums for all three of those groups of 100. But
right.
in that case, I would also just show them their carve out on their own spreadsheet, right? I would just show the actual, if we're going to carve out 10, 20 people, I would
Okay,
just show them that carve out for the
okay,
presentation.
thanks.
Of course. Let's see. I haven't looked at the chat in a minute. Anything else that we had to go over on the census quote?
No, just some feedback, and we'll take a look at it in terms of like how much real estate is on the page, if we can
Yeah.
kind of make it a little bit bigger to use. And then Patty had asked about Max, so we can take a look at how it might look on different browsers. But since it
Yeah.
is web-based, that's one of the nice things. You don't have to download it on your computer. It should work natively. If you're copying it though into a Mac spreadsheet, let us know how that works and if you
Yeah.
have any issues with it.
Yep. 100%. Yes, the census quote is accessed via an iframe. We'll see what we can do about making it bigger. This is all I got for you right now. I can give you some real estate right now if you've done this, but you probably already have if you're asking about real estate space. But I agree. There's a lot that
We'll
we're working.
probably shrink the instructions or make it so that that top window is smaller too, so you
Yeah.
get more space there.
Yeah, maybe perhaps if we can. Um These little white spaces can be a little finicky, but maybe if we can do an accordion, perhaps, and shrink this down, that might be one of the things we can do to get you some more space. But we've gotten a lot of good feedback about this tool, so we're investing a lot of time in it to make it work well for everyone. Appreciate all the feedback. It's really good. Now what the heck else was I gonna talk about? Oh yeah, Product Buddy. So we have added, let's see, all states term to 100 product into Product Buddy. So we've got their whole life. For right now, we'll probably create a logo to say whole life versus term to 100. But we have the normal Allstate benefits logo is going to be the whole life. Term to 100 is going to be the one that is obviously term to 100. So there is a new one pager for that. And I think I showed this off pretty recently. That is the whole life that I had saved earlier. Yeah, so we did go through this product a bit the other day, but now you have a one pager for your presentations, and we painstakingly went through the carrier's product lookup tool, which we're really glad exists and got all the state availability. The one thing that I will point your attention to is that for the state of Florida, and we're working on this piece too, when you, let's see, it should show up for Florida, yes. Um, when you select term to 100, this is not actually true. I'll come out and tell you this is not actually true. This is a one or the other proposition. The way we've coded Product Buddy, though, we haven't run into another, you can only have one of extension or restoration, but not both. We've never seen that before, so we didn't code with that in mind. So we're working on a way to be able to provide the case highlights to say that. And in most cases, guys, you're going to want extension of benefits. I'm just telling you from a long-term care value perspective, if I can choose one between the extension and the restoration of benefits, I love them both, don't get me wrong, but if I have to kick one off the boat and leave one on, it's extension of benefits for sure, in my opinion. So just wanted to point that out. You guys can play around with this and get an idea of the sweet spots and dive into the product for yourself, but just wanted to make you aware of that piece. And then in the marketing section, we're working on a number of different things, but it has gotten a bit of a facelift here. And one of the items that we have in here, let me try to find our comparison. First, we have recommended content. So whatever we think is hot right now, we'll kind of put to the top for you. But these are sorted by how the content is tagged in our backend now. So we have case studies. We have a number of different sales tool options. You can still use the search function. And one of the big things here is if there is something I like looking at, let's see, let me get a good example here. I have used this VA benefits piece actually a couple of times on webinars in the last month or two. So I find this useful. I'm actually going to hit the pin and I'm going to pin this. So I don't have to come back looking for it. It comes into my pin content. So whenever I come to the marketing section, I know I can pull this up in a flash. So that's pretty useful to me. What else do we have? We have this one. I'm going to pin this one too. This one I use a lot. we have just added All-State term to 100 versus their guaranteed whole life. So I find this one very, very helpful, especially for groups that I've been working with or brokers I've been working with on the whole life product, who want to learn a little bit more about the new term life option and how they compare. We kind of put the pricing side by side here, and we have the product specs compared side by side as well. So you can go through and see exactly where they're the same or where they differ, which is super, super nice and convenient. And that kind of brings me to another item to share with you. And this is a future item. What do we have planned for the future? So, quick quote, very soon you're going to see a very big facelift to Group Quick Quote. And what we're doing here is we're adding a button here that actually populates a second chart. And you're going to be able to compare your favorite group products to a couple of different things. So, as is kind of tradition at Buddy INS, you'll be able to compare to self-funding and the cost of care with your group long-term care plan designs. But you are also going to be able to compare to individual long-term care. So you'll be able to compare to an individual traditional long-term care and an individual hybrid long-term care. So I know a lot of people ask about how this compares, and let me actually share my screen because I do have a prototype for you. Let me just dig that up real quick. Talk amongst yourselves. I have a prototype of that calculator to be able to show you. Let me see here. Sorry, does somebody know how to juggle while I dig this up? Anybody know how to make a good distraction? Let me see. Should take me only 1 minute. Should have had this prepared. Sorry, guys. Let me. Okay, this should be it. Yes. All right. So, new calculators. This is what Quick Quote is going to look like in the next 1 to 2 weeks. We're working out a few of the kinks. Calculators are pretty complex, but this will be the new design of the calculator. So you can see we still have a lot of the same normal features, premium, total paid premiums. Your multiplier is still there, monthly benefit, and max long-term care benefit is still there. Everything is normal as far as the inputs, but this button here for compare your plan, you can compare a group product to an individual product that targets the same monthly benefit. So we're working on a few things. We're working on adding traditional long-term care, but we have hybrid life that will match up to the same monthly benefits. You can compare to the cost of care as well. So this is a pretty exciting feature to be able to add so you can get an idea of your gap versus the monthly cost of care. Now we have a number of assumptions being made here, which we will make clear once we feel that we have everything with the calculator and formulas really sort of settled. So you can get an idea of the underlying assumptions for these. But then you can also compare to self-funding as well. So this will be really nice to take the group calculators out of just their own little silo and be able to compare them to other scenarios. But what I think is most exciting to me is the fact that we have two charts, because what we're going to be doing immediately after this new design is released is we're going to give you the ability to compare side by side two group products, which will be, I think, the most exciting feature that we'll add. So that is going to probably be my absolute favorite. And I'll get a lot of use out of that. I hope you all will too. There's a lot of other things we have planned for these calculators, kind of working hand in hand with the templates we have, the comparison templates. We're going to work on a feature. Now, this is decently far out into the future, maybe a month plus, I would guess. But we're trying to work on functionality for when we can compare group products. We'll have group product one, group product two. We're going to work on getting Quick Quote to provide you with a side-by-side comparison as you use it. So I think that will go a long way to make these calculators a bit more everyday useful, beyond going in and diving in and getting an idea of the pricing. We're also going to be adding a couple of buttons in the future as well for state and for size segment. So you'll notice if I go back into the buddy system, when I go to Quick Quote, I'm seeing underwriting parameters here that are really for a large group or some enrollment we've done before, where we have 150,000 guaranteed issue. But you'll notice that small groups don't get 150,000 guaranteed issue. Hardly ever, if ever at all. So what we're going to do is work on having a size segment button in here to give you an idea of the underwriting accurately for small groups and large groups alike. You'll also notice we have a heck of a lot of plan designs in here. All of the plan designs that we have available in the calculators are in Quick Quote, and we're going to plan to have a state button in here as well, so that if a plan design is not available in your state, for example, Allstate, California, and Utah, or maybe you don't have UL10, you're a trans elite state, which we're working on right now, those plan designs won't show, so it'll keep things rather organized. Or if you're in a state that doesn't offer Allstate term to 100, for example, those plan designs will fall off so that you get just what's available to you in your state. I know there's been a lot of feedback that, hey, it's kind of hard to trudge through each plan design and figure out which works for me. We've taken that into account, and we're working on that uh, very, very readily. So I'm excited for the future of calculators. I know all the actuaries that I work with are super excited for the calculators. I just hope that you all are excited about the calculators too. One thing I forgot to mention is those assumptions are actually in here to be able to hover over and read about. Way to be prepared. So you can change the state for cost of care, um, for the individual life and long-term care plan. This is a big old disclaimer of the assumptions, so we'll have to pare that down a little bit. Real estate is hard to come by, Max. I'll tell you, some of these things we have limited space, but a lot of what we're trying to do is space saving measures. The problem is when you crash together, adding features and creating space, they don't always get along, but we'll work through that. I think anything that you have as far as feedback for any of these items, whether they haven't been released yet or were just released, maybe you use the buddy system on your mobile device and something has a weird experience. Feel free, you feel obligated to let us know. We'll work to fix those things. The Mac experience, for example. I use a 13-inch laptop screen and this looks really funny to me. Those are things that can inform us because though we'd like to have the capability, we don't have, kind of an omni person with every single device that's out there in the world who's able to kind of get ahead on what the experience will be like for one journey or another. So feel free to let us know about what you're kind of encountering personally for your situation, because we're happy to help accommodate if we can. Goes for iPad users too. Forgot about them. So that was kind of the run through that I had planned for today. So there's a lot that's out there that's available to you today that you might not have seen yet. There's a lot that's going to be available um, the next couple of weeks to next couple of months that we're super excited about. I hope you'll take advantage of them. I hope you'll provide feedback on them. Anybody have any other questions, comments, thoughts? Um, yeah, Mark, I would agree with Mark. The buddy system is super, super um all grown up. There's a lot we've kind of learned to be able to do. And if you were here from the very beginning, we thank you, and probably looks like the Stone Age compared to now. Anybody have anything else they want to share?
One thing quick, Jason,
Yeah.
on Product Buddy,
Mhm.
when I did a recommendation and then one pager we have,
Mhm.
it appeared as if it came down California, it came down to Allstate and Chubb, but then
Yeah.
it showed on the one pagers, it showed $50,000 DB on Chubb and 150 on Allstate on the one pager.
Yeah, so that is showing the extra death
Okay.
benefit. So it's a good question. What you're looking at is actually the amount of restored death benefit. So Chubb in California and other
Oh,
states do not restore 100% of the death benefit. They'll give you, I believe in California, it is 50% of the death benefit to a max of $50,000. Um, so let's
it's
see.
yeah.
So
There's a reduction. Yeah, 70. There's a reduction. Yeah.
yeah, so the actual face amount that you're seeing here, for example, um, you're talking this right here.
Yeah.
So that's showing the amount of restored
Okay.
death benefit, and this is actually what face amount we're kind of showing. So if LTC isn't used, the client gets 150,000 of death benefit, but if long-term care is used, they'll kind of have a maximum of 50,000 of death benefit to leave behind. That's the max they'll restore.
Yeah. And obviously the difference also is inflation and no inflation.
Yep. Yep, exactly. And Allstate will actually restore 100% of that death benefit, so that's why you see the
Okay.
75,000 and 75,000 here. So Chubb, you're going to get a larger face amount. You're going to get a larger kind of initial pool for long-term care. But that growth from the 5% compound for Allstate is yeah, definitely a different beast. Good question. Yeah. Sometimes that can get a little confusing. Anything labeled extra death benefit is showing restored death benefit in the event you use your initial death benefit for long-term care.
Click on the 100 plus on that plan,
Let's see.
and maybe it'll be the same because obviously there's a big
Ah,
difference
yeah,
in
yeah.
the
Yeah,
three
so
seven.
Chubb is only going to consider
Right.
100 plus, but with Allstate in this case, yeah, we show kind of what we see large groups getting of
Right.
over 100 lives. Now, um, you may be over 100 lives and see a lower amount here. This is kind of based on what we are normally seeing. Um, but yeah, it'll actually compare apples to apples when you select 100 plus. That's actually
Right.
interesting. I should
Yeah,
look
I
into.
know. That's always like double the premium. I said,
We show Chubb for 50 to 99 because
yeah,
in some cases, if you have a very rich, fully employer funded case,
right.
Chubb may consider it. But I'm thinking about just removing it because there are many groups that this will not apply to. So it's a good point and a good thought. And then of course 5 to 49, they're gonna drop off completely.
Right.
Yeah, good thought there, good feedback. I'll probably remove Chubb for 50 to 99 because it's very rare that they'll consider a group in that segment, and it's got to be, kind of the case of a lifetime for them. Good demographics, full employer funding to the GI Max, and all that good stuff. Anybody else have anything they want to go over before we call it and give you some time back in your day? All right. Well, appreciate you guys. Hope you're excited for some of the new things that are out there and all that we have planned for the future. We're putting a lot of chips in on group long-term care to help make some of the mysterious and help make some of the difficult a bit more accessible for you all. Just keep it coming with the feedback, and we're happy to provide you whatever we can. So we'll see you this time next week. Be well, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.